Well, last season was interesting because the really most significant part of it was that Atwater was standing up for where he was uh, and what he believed in. And he was getting a lot of pressure from the blue wall, which ironically, intelligence is part of. So there was some kind of internecine strife as well. And Voight was trying to convince him that it's like trying to fight the ocean. And but Atwater felt strongly that he had to uh, say what he saw, which is the truth, rather than keeping his mouth shut, and that his temporary partner at the time, this guy Doyle, was profiling, and he got himself into a situation where sadly he ended up killed. But it was due to irresponsible and technically illegal behavior. So complicated, which kind of teed us up for everything that happened during the COVID lockdown with George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and all the other stuff. So we were right kind of in the thick of that in a way already. We shut down on March 13th, and I don't have a lot of days off. But way back in January of this year, I requested that day off because it was a Friday, and my birthday is March 12th. So on my birthday, I ran off work, and there was a lot of stress. There was stuff going on because we were becoming aware of it, and I was going to go to the airport to fly to Arizona to watch some spring training games with my kids, but I ended up just going home and staying home for a long time. So I celebrated my birthday basically by myself. Not very good company. Voight is he's extremely rooted in present time, so he doesn't do a lot of self-reflection, but that does not mean that he doesn't have a lot of self-awareness. And I think he is he's a man of integrity. Of course, integrity is really, by my definition, just being true to yourself. So if that self is not acceptable or good, or a serial killer has integrity. He'd be breaking his integrity, not taking the opportunity to kill the person. So, but I think Voight is good. He certainly means well, and he cares about others. He's not a sociopath. But that being said, I think in order to be a good person at his age, you have to be evolving. Nothing remains the same in this universe, and he understands that. You have to continue to evolve, because if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. And so he's kind of seeing some things. He's not reflecting on it, but he's noticing changes. And obviously, as we go into this 8th season, after all the stuff that's going down, and all this talk about and need for reformation in police departments, he's kind of being pushed, if he wants to keep his job and do his job well. It's going to be under new circumstances. So there's going to be moments, I imagine, where he's going to have to reflect and look in the mirror, and his knees may even hit the ground. But if he doesn't change, change will change him. So it's an interesting and unique opportunity for me as an actor, and for him as a person, and hopefully for me as a person. I'm most excited about finding the evolution that Voight is going through. And there's a new character played by Nicole Larry Parker, who is a wonderful actress and a very compelling individual. And, you know, Voight has his certainty, and her responsibility, this character, is to bring about reform and change. And so she's not an adversary per se, because she wants Voight to remain on the force, but if he doesn't change, she won't be able to. So she is very good at her job and has a lot of certainty, and Voight is very good at his job and has a lot of certainty. And probably ironically, they both want the same thing, which is good policing and a safer Chicago. But Voight has a thesis, she has an antithesis. And so what's going to happen is there's going to be a crack in both of our certainties so we can find some synthesis. And I find that exciting. And I don't know if we're going to be 10% Voight and 100% Miller, and that's her character, or 90% Miller, or what it'll be, but we're going to have to find that. And it should be interesting. And it requires for the characters to be vulnerable, which is essentially, or being intimate, because we're joined at the hip. We need each other to survive, and to be intimate, you have to be vulnerable and yet feel safe, and that is not easy for two kind of alphas. So it should be interesting.